Hi guys, Alex here, back again for another video, second one in a row. Check out my channel. I did a recent vinyl finds video yesterday, but today I'm just going to go back to kind of what I was doing at the beginning when I first opened this account, and that is a review. And today I'm going to do the mono recordings by Bob Dylan. And if you've been subscribed to me since the beginning, then you'll know I did a kind of unboxing just to show you guys what was in the box for this set. But today I'm just going to tell you what I think about it and whether I recommend, obviously, you pick it up or not. Right guys, so I'm sure you know, but this is Bob Dylan's mono recordings, which Columbia released as a reissue in October of 2010. I picked these up for a very, very reasonable price in January. So I've had this collection now for a month and a bit, and in that time I've really had time to appreciate and soak up and absorb this wonderful music for a second time. Obviously, listening to these records again, and may I first say, you know, that these are 8 superb records. I mean, talk about music that has changed rock and roll and changed the world. These records really did that, and they're some of the most influential and inspirational albums ever created, in my opinion. And so I don't think they could have picked a better 8 albums to reissue in this, you know, mono format. I think they've done a great job with pretty much everything. Check out my last video. I did kind of a unboxing slash look at what you get, all the goodies and extras in this set, and there are a fair few, so check. Go on my channel, and it'll be up there. I uploaded it about a month ago, but I'm not going to waste time talking about that stuff now, because I want to talk about the music, which is the most important thing, of course. So I guess the key question that I was, asking myself when purchasing this was, what are the differences between mono and stereo? I mean, is one superior? Is, which am I going to prefer? So that was the key question that I wanted to kind of pose to myself, and in the last month I've compared them side by side. And if you're new to mono, if you don't even know what mono is, you've never heard a mono record, it's basically one sound, it's one channel, they call it, as opposed to stereo, which is 2 sounds and 2 channels. So the music's much more separated in stereo. I'm no expert on this, I'm just kind of saying what I know. Yeah, so the mono was the preferred format for releasing albums back in the early 60s. So these albums, if you're lucky enough to have an original pressing or an early pressing of some of these albums, then you will have heard the mono before. But this is the first time they've reissued them in both vinyl and CD, on both vinyl and CD. So it's quite exciting, for Dylan fans. And I have to say that I really do prefer, with a few exceptions, in general I do prefer the mono recordings to the stereo, and there are a few reasons for that, with a few exceptions, as I said, but really everything up to Another Side of Bob Dylan, all the early stuff, the first 4 or 5 records, the acoustic stuff is just, it's bliss. It really is amazing. In mono, it's just, I find it more, it's hard to explain, what's better about it. It's just crisper, and I just think the mono format is superior for those records. Once you get into the Highway 61s and Blonde on Blonde records, so the later records in this collection, other things start to be coming into the mix. So you have electric instruments and all these different sounds and coming in and making things, I guess, a little bit more complicated when mixing and getting everything right is sometimes difficult. So there are, things that I do dislike about a few of the songs on the later records. For instance, I find the organ on, as you know, if you've listened to Highway 61, then you know that the organ is a huge part of that record, and it really is a key element in making that record incredible, and as powerful as it is. And I find, like, sometimes, I might be talking complete nonsense, but I find that the organ is slightly muffled, and not distorted, but just not as prominent as it is on the stereo version. And I don't know, it just detracts a little bit from the listening experience. But that's not to say there aren't great things about those albums as well in mono. For instance, there's a much deeper and heavier bass to those albums, which you don't get on the stereo quite as much. And it does immerse you in the music a lot more. It kind of brings the music closer to you, and as I said, more immersive. It's almost a spiritual experience. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it is, listening to these records in mono. So there are great things about the Highway 61 Blonde on Blonde in mono. I just find that they got some things maybe slightly wrong when mixing on a few of the tracks. But all the acoustic stuff, as I say, and some of the electric stuff is mind-blowing. For instance, Like a Rolling Stone, I didn't think that song, I didn't think that song could get much better. I didn't think, listening to it in mono would improve it, because it's already, I believe, the greatest song ever written. But it blows your mind listening to that in mono. It's bass is deeper, and it's just incredible music. So in addition to all this, kind of subtle differences, there are actual noticeable things that, for instance, Dylan's electric guitar on Tombstone Blues is out of tune, evidently, and you can actually hear that guitar on the mono version. You can't hear it on the stereo. They kind of turned it down, so you couldn't hear it. And if you're like me and you're fascinated in kind of the minutiae of detail on Dylan records, then it's fascinating to hear those things. Other things, say on the album Bring It All Back Home, certain songs, It's Alright Mara, Many Bleeding, Mr. Tambourine Man, Gates of Eden, all those songs have a slight echo to them, and slight kind of tinny sound. I don't know how quite to describe it, but those songs sound drastically different from the stereo versions, and it's incredible, really, because you can, they make you feel, listening to the stereo and mono make you feel, different emotions. The differences are that drastic. So that kind of brings me on to the fact that I don't like to say that one format is better than the other. Like, the stereo is not better than the mono is not better than the stereo. I prefer the mono in general as a sound, but I don't like to say that it's better than the stereo in any way, because it's kind of what you like listening to, and how the music, how you relate to the music, and what it means to you. So yeah, but I'm fascinated with the whole kind of minutiae, as I say, of detail on these mono recordings, and I hate to use such a common cliche, I guess, but it really is like listening to these records all over again. I don't know how else to put it, and it will add another dimension to your Dylan collection, which I'm sure is already quite big if you're like me. And there's nothing really like listening to a Dylan record again, like for the first time. And it is like that, listening to it for the first time. And it's exciting, I have to say. That's all I really have to say on this. It's fascinating fascinating stuff. I could probably talk a lot more, but I love that these were the sessions that Dylan was actually sitting in on when they were mixing the mono. He kind of orchestrated that, and that was probably the format they spent most time perfecting, I guess. I've heard that the Beatles were the same, but Dylan would have sat in on these sessions and kind of made decisions on you know, how it should be. So I think for die-hard fans, it doesn't get much better. Right guys, so that just about wraps up this video. I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight into what this set offers. And as I've said many times, you know, I can't recommend this collection enough. It's certainly enriched and enhanced my listening experience. And you know, on top of that, really just made me think about how music's recorded, how music is mixed, and all the different formats, and you know, it's just made me think in a different way about this wonderful music. So you know, whether you're a die-hard Dylan fan or just someone who's maybe a little bit curious about mono, maybe you haven't heard a mono record before, you know, I think this is the set to get because it offers everything, and you'll hear these records in a completely different light than before. So you know, I can't recommend it enough. That's all I can say about it. So yeah, that just about wraps up that. Check out my channel. I've got a vinyl finds video up there. Quite a few views already, and I think I gained like 7 subscribers last night when I uploaded that. So yeah, thanks guys. Always nice to get an influx of new subscribers. And yeah, I'll have more videos up soon. I'm hoping to buy some more vinyl, maybe an Iron and Wine LP. I know Buddy Wop has been raving about their music, and I listened to a bit on Spotify, and yeah, they've got some great stuff, so I want to buy that vinyl. Yeah, me and him, Buddy Bop, he's got a great music taste. Can really relate to his musical choices and records. So check his videos out as well. But yeah, I'll be back soon with more videos. I'm going to do some more thread responses and maybe a couple more reviews of a few films I wanted to do. But until then, thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.